Ooh, what up, y'all? It's your boy back with another video or podcast wise, another episode. But, following our R.Kelly trial as we have been doing, we run across this Tasha K situation. Now, as I go into this article, I do want to lead off by saying, after reading this, you almost have to press for a mistrial. You have to. Because whoever leaked these documents, from my understanding, worked for the federal government. And that's who's going after the rack, charging them with the racketeering case at this point. So I'm looking at a case now where the waters have been muddied. And they was muddied anyway because he can't get a fair trial. Because you would almost have to be hiding under a rock for you not to know who or what has been going on with R.Kelly. So, where do we get started at? This article is coming from the Chicago Tribune. Yesterday, Chicago Tribune by Jason Meisner, which says the R&B superstar R.Kelly has been locked up at Chicago's federal jail for 4 months when a popular YouTube personality touted an inside scoop on the singer's tumultuous relationship with two girlfriends still living in his high-rise apartment. Apparently wanting to keep the women in his camp, Kelly allegedly had a friend bring $1,500 in cash to the Trump Tower residence to help pay their bills. Blogger Tasha K in an exclusive video posted to her YouTube channel in November 2019. Now, at that point, nobody knew who it was. And from my understanding, you was kind of thinking it was either one of the girls or even his brother. Now, I know Tasha K was plugged. When she say she was plugged in, Tasha K was plugged in. So one of them, Jocelyn Savage, was angry she'd been kept off Kelly's visitors list. According to Tasha K, the other, Azriel Clary, had left the apartment and not come back, throwing Kelly into a tizzy, she said. Now, at that point, I do remember seeing that video Tasha K put up. And it's, to be honest, this is around the time I even found Tasha K. Is when I guess she broke through the algorithm. Well, I won't say broke through the algorithm because she was still pretty famous at that point, but it's when she popped up on my algorithm. And at this point, that's when I was thinking, yeah, one of the girls probably did it, or his brother, or something like that. But how did Tasha K know all this? Well, she wasn't telling. Yeah, there's a phone tap somewhere, and I'm not going to tell you where it's at, Tasha K told her viewers during the 39-minute video, which has so far collected more than 328,000 views. I have the plug. I'm not going to tell you where I got the information from, but just listen to the damn information, okay? Now, there's a phone tap somewhere. It's natural. I believe just about all jail calls, I think, are tapped. So, there's no surprise there. But for that video to have 328,000 views, what you do also have to understand is what? It's 328,000 people who now starts to disseminate this to other people. And now this information is out there. It's why I said, if we're being honest, you just almost have to, almost grant a mistrial at this point, because he can't get a fair trial. And reading this lets you know the feds was playing dirty and foul in this case. Now, it appears federal investigators allegedly know exactly how Tasha K was plugged in. A federal search warrant recently unsealed in Chicago shows that agents seized a laptop from a U.S. Bureau of Prisons officer who was suspected of illegally accessing Kelly's recorded phone calls, emails, visitor logs, and other restricted information during his stay at the Metropolitan Correctional Center on West Van Buren Street. That's a lot to unpack right there. Agents seized a laptop from a U.S. Bureau of Prisons officer who was suspected of illegally accessing Kelly's recorded phone calls, emails, visitor logs, and other restricted information during his stay at the Metropolitan Correctional Center on West Van Buren Street. Now, what you have to understand now is things that we know about that maybe we shouldn't have known about were leaked out from this officer, which is why I said you have to have a mistrial at this point. You damn near need to throw the case out because of what has been found out here. So if this was one of the girlfriends doing this, that's fine. But you're being charged by the feds. And now we find out somebody from the U.S. Bureau of Prisons, one of your officers from there, leaked the information out. So how am I not to believe that came from up top at this point? That would just be hard for me to believe. Also, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and share it. How do we know? Female officer. And when we find out, I'm almost certain she's a sister, but I'm not going to put that on her jacket just yet. Who at the time worked as a disciplinary hearing officer at a federal prison in Wisconsin. Accessed Kelly's records more than 150 times in a 6-month period in 2019, even though the officer was not assigned to the MCC and had no official reason to be looking him up, according to the 24-page document obtained by the Tribune. She was invading files that had nothing to do with her. She was tapping into the Metropolitan Correctional Center from Wisconsin. Now, why would she be accessing those records? And why would she do that more than 150 times? Now, if we find out Tasha K paid this woman, then they both should probably be charged and put in jail. Because at this point, like I said, there's information that's been put out here that we should have known about, that we do know about, that you can't ignore when you're going into the jury, into the deliberation to make a decision. You just won't be able to ignore some of the things you've already known. The officer, identified only as Officer A, also emailed herself a 12-page scan of Kelly's jail records, according to an affidavit from an investigator with the U.S. Justice Department's Inspector General's office. So she even did that and emailed herself a 12-page scan of his jail records, which means what? She's probably been sending this information off to Tasha K and the other parties and getting this information out there. To do what? Even though you're having this case and you can't say certain things, you know these women from the information that's been delved out at this point. So now we know some of Jocelyn Savage stuff. We know the girl, I think Azriel, we know some of her stuff. And you know some of the inner workings because of these jail records, which should have never seen the light of day. We shouldn't know this information, which leads to he can't get a fair trial and he won't be judged fairly by a jury of his peers. The officer retired in December 2019, according to the affidavit. She has not been charged. We're almost 2 years to the day, and that officer has not been charged. If she is not charged, there is no way that I even if she is charged at this point, I still believe the feds had her do what she did and give that information out. The unsealing of the search warrant comes in the middle of Kelly's racketeering trial in New York on charges alleging he was the head of a criminal enterprise that for decades recruited girls and young women and held them against their will to satisfy Kelly's illegal sexual appetites. And all that could be true, as we've stated throughout this whole trial. But you have to be able to prove that. It's not what we feel, not what we think. It's what you can prove at the end of the day. And again, we know who this officer was who leaked this. She was able to retire and is living off her pension at this point and has not been charged for violating the law that bad. This was anything else, they would be looking at this as damn near treason. Kelly is identified in the warrant only as inmate A, though he's described as a nationally recognized celebrity whose criminal case has received media attention. Sources confirmed the investigation and videos referenced in the federal document line up with Kelly-related videos posted on YouTube. In an email statement Tuesday, a BOP spokesperson wrote the Bureau could not comment on issues pending investigations for privacy, safety, and security reasons. How is it still pending investigations and you know who did it? That's BS. That's complete and utter BS at this point. The documents offer a glimpse into the unbridled cottage industry that has sprung up on social media since the allegations against Kelly exploded in 2019 with the Lifetime docuseries Surviving R.Kelly, which eventually led to federal indictments in Brooklyn and Chicago, as well as similar charges in Cook County. And this is what I'm saying. Federal indictments in Brooklyn and Chicago, exactly where she was logged into the Chicago federal system when they was talking about her going to the MCC, the Metropolitan Correctional Center. So for me, there's no way. And this is why I said I think they lined R.Kelly up. I don't think the feds have a strong case. But what do? All these things start coming about. The Me Too movement started pushing this in 2017. This docuseries comes in 2019. We get a shitload of outrage. Then he gets indicted, gets arrested, put in jail, awaiting trial. Now these conversations are getting leaked to the media. So now we push the trial back due to Corona, due to COVID. We push it back. So now we're sitting here where? We start this case up, I believe, at the end of July, August? I think it's August. We started this case in August. What's happening in August? The anniversary, the 24, 25 year, I think it was 27 year anniversary of them, him and Aaliyah getting married. Aaliyah re-releasing her album out to streaming services. Again, I don't find any of these things to be a coincidence at this point. When a South suburban woman posted Kelly's $100,000 bail in the Cook County case in February of 2019, she instantly became a hot topic of conversation, with some bloggers on social media calling for a boycott of the restaurant she owns, while others wrongly identified her as the operator of a Southside daycare. And again, whether she posted the bail or not, he deserves his day in court. Found guilty, you found guilty. If you're not, you're not. But like I've stated, Black community allowed the Aaliyah situation to happen. And we didn't complain. We still supported. And you supported them after you saw that sex tape. The music industry, white and Black, still supported after you saw that sex tape. You don't get a chance now, once the heat has been put on, to step away and say, you know what, I'm appalled. I'm disgusted. No, I'm not jacking that. As the trial has been unfolding in New York, one blogger who posts under the name Infamous Sylvia has been using actors to read aloud from the trial transcripts creating what she bills as role reenactment. But perhaps none of the gossip mongers has been as successful as Tasha K, whose celebrity news dispatches on the YouTube channel Unwind with Tasha K regularly garner hundreds of thousands of views and presumably significant advertising dollars. And I enjoy Tasha K. It's a boatload of gossip. Sometimes she right on the money. Sometimes there's some people on there you listen to and be like, yeah, they might be lying through their damn teeth. But, it is entertaining. And she is entertaining. The 39-year-old Atlanta-based blogger, whose real name is Tasha K, often touts her videos as offering exclusive information and insight into Kelly's world with interviews of key players, as well as updates on the allegations, including many that go far beyond even the most salacious details offered in court, which is, again, why I told you there are things that have already been put out on her channel and other platforms that should have never been put out, which will never allow him to get a fair trial, no matter how you try and look at it. I've seen her have his brother on there who went and did all these rants about what a terrible dude he is and all of this. And right after that, then it's right back to, yeah, I was upset. I exaggerated some. I lied. But now you don't know whether Kales got to him and paid him off, or the family pulled him back in and said, hey, yo, chill. And he's recanting, or he came out and lied. So according to the warrant, the warden of Chicago's MCC first reported to BOP Internal Affairs on November 22nd, 2019. Here we are. We getting ready. We're in September 8th, 2021. We getting ready 2 years from then. That Tasha K had revealed sensitive law enforcement information regarding a celebrity identified as Kelly, including information that would have been known to BOP employees who had monitored inmate A's telephone calls or access to recordings of those calls. So 2 years ago, you knew, and she still ain't been charged, and you still investigate. Interesting. The warrant mentions that 3 specific videos posted by Tasha K that are all still publicly viewable on YouTube. Among them was a November 8th, 2019 video entitled Exclusive New R.Kelly Enablers Revealed, where she appears to scroll through her cell phone while reading a summary of a recent call between Kelly and Savage that was recorded on the jail system. And again, if you don't think the feds was involved in this, you have to ask why that video is still up on YouTube. Because if that's sensitive and private information, they would have reached out to YouTube, and YouTube would have took the video down. They would have reached out to Tasha K and told her, due to whatever, you got to take the video down. But they didn't. They kept it up, and it's still public. Why? Because it benefits their case. I got some explosive information, Tasha K says, after taking a sip of white wine from a large goblet. So Rob called Jocelyn, and she was crying hysterically. She said Azriel was leaving the Trump Tower, and she was not coming back. Now, I told you I got a bleeping plug, so this is all facts. And now the feds are admitting Tasha K wasn't lying. It is all facts. Another video posted on December 22nd, 2019 was titled R.Kelly Released Emails Proves He Can't Read or Write. According to the affidavit, which I told you already, that's why I don't believe they could charge him with the RICO. Racketeering. He can't be the head of some elaborate scheme if he can't read or write. It's not intelligent enough. The 16-minute video, which had more than 512,000 views as of Tuesday, features Tasha K reading verbatim from emails Kelly purportedly sent from jail to Savage a month earlier, including details of how he misspelled the word high as high, H-A-I. That could be a mistake, though, so I ain't going to put that on him. That could be anything. I'm not going to put it up here because this is considered somebody's private information or whatever. And she always do that and say, I don't want to put people's business out. But you putting people's business out. Why are you saying you don't want to put people's business out? She says using air quotes as she looks down at her phone, but you know my word, trust me. Tasha K could not immediately be reached for comment Tuesday. I know she couldn't be reached for comment Tuesday because her ass in hot water right with this woman. Now, of course, like I said, if these were two men who did this, both would be looking at federal charges. Because that woman didn't do it. If Tasha K didn't pay this woman to do this, then I have to believe now the feds paid her to do this. She was told to do it. See, I could really put it on Tasha K if they can show me a paper trail and say Tasha K gave the woman some money. If she didn't, then I have to now believe the feds got her to do this and disseminate this information out to all platforms. One of the two. A review of Officer A's logins to the Bureau of Prisons internal information system, meanwhile, showed that the officer had improperly accessed Kelly's records 153 times between July 15, 2019, when Kelly first arrived at the MCC, and December 12, 2019, shortly before her retirement, according to the warrant, which could also, hey, you only got 5 months left here. Why don't you do this for us? And if any blowback, you still keep your pension. During that time, the officer also accessed and printed out Kelly's visitor logs and payments made into and out of his commissary account, which included the names of people sending money to Kelly while he was in jail, according to the warrant, which is also how these people know who's supporting him, who's not. What celebs are still reaching out, which ones are not. And this is why I tell you guys over and over again, this shit ain't no game, man. It's not a game. And that's why I know this came from up top. Whoever wants this case tried, somebody up top. That's why I told you he had to sleep with somebody's daughter or wife. Because look at the extent that the feds went through. Look at the length the feds went through to get this done. Which is why I said I don't know why his lawyers aren't screaming for a mistrial after this information has been put out. Because why would you need his visitor logs and payments made into and out of his commissary account except to track the women and the men, any celebs, any politicians, who's actually still supporting him? Let's find that out, then let's leak that information. And whoever was supporting him, they probably blackmailing him also. On November 13, 2019, the officer sent herself a 12-page scan of Kelly's jail records from her official BOP email account to a Gmail address registered to her, according to the warrant. Among the information in that scan was a log of Kelly's emails, including some later divulged by Tasha K in her video vlog. The warrant sought permission to search Officer A's desktop computer for any evidence of a crime, including any internet searches for Kelly, as well as financial transactions or discussions of payments with Tasha K. Now, again, like I said, if Tasha K paid her, Tasha K going to jail. Because this just blew the whole case up. This has the potential to have blown the Fed's whole case up. If she didn't pay her, then again, like I told you, I believe the Feds are behind all of this then. Because there's no need for her to be sending 12-page scans of his jail records from her official BOP email account to her Gmail address. And what's even sicker is, as of today, she still hadn't been charged. So, like I said, if I'm R.Kelly's lawyers, I'm advocating for a mistrial. This is your boy, the Hood Nerd. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I'm out.